Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I'm delighted you're here. It is August 8th today. So, I've gotten a couple of requests about is there additional security on Trump, or, is his security more concerned than they typically are? Although I imagine that honestly they're probably concerned at a much higher rate and level than they are used to for any other president. I think this president just creates so much divisiveness, and he gets people's emotions so riled up. You have to think that their job is harder now than it was under previous presidents. So we're going to take a look at for whom and where security has been ramped up. So let's just take a look and see what we can see. So I have a question. I want to find out about increased security for some of the leaders in the political arena. All right, come on down. Increased political security, increased political security, increased political security. Yeah. So there is definitely more and more security that has been added, for sure, to Donald and his wife. Mitch McConnell and his wife are also on the receiving end of some fairly significant hostility. Nancy Pelosi is another one whose security has had to have been ramped up, as of course the security for the squad. Okay, I'm not going to go down that path. I'm going to kind of stick to Trump, McConnell, Pelosi. But as a result of increased rhetoric, increased divisiveness, increased hostility, there is a lot more security that has had to move into place, and it is tightened. It has gotten stronger, for lack of a better word. Yeah, there's a lot of security going on. It's had to be, sometimes in some instances, it's actually had to be put in place really, really quickly, because of something that is said on Twitter, something that goes out on the airwaves, and it's like, it just turns into almost like a 5-alarm fire, where all of a sudden, security is ramping up and kind of converging because there are significant and serious threats as a result of the behaviors. That's going to continue to increase because there are going to be continuing incidences of either violence or flat out racist behavior, or a combination of the two. And that's only going to, flare tempers, make things burn hotter. There is going to be loss. I'm sorry to say, there is going to be more loss. And And that's sad, and that's devastating. You know, I don't understand something. Frankly, the whole world doesn't understand something, okay? The United States has turned this gun violence into a binary choice. And the NRA is absolutely at the base of this, and they are absolutely completely guilty in perpetuating it, as are Republican politicians who have jumped on that bandwagon. They present it as they're going to take all your guns away, and in order to combat that, we have to have every single possible firearm accessory, slaughter machine available to us. So instead of it being, yes, people can and should have guns if they desire them for hunting, for sport, target practice, whatever, okay? But there needs to be intelligent gun legislation in place. Instead of the right kind of understanding that this is the perfect situation to compromise in because it is so desired by so many people. This is a situation where the money and the force of a very strong lobbyist group is pushing their weight around. And they paid off a lot of people, and a lot of people have gotten rich or successful or more noticed because of the NRA money flowing to them. But there's new energy, and that new energy is completely prepared to expose the lies, confront them face to face, and get this albatross off the backs of the American people. I understand, to the best of my ability, the materialistic attitudes that go into the behaviors of people who are beholden to the gun lobbyist groups, the gun manufacturers. But that hold is dissipating. It is fading away. You know, the NRA is in trouble. Public opinion is increasing and increasing and making it more and more socially unacceptable. And so companies are having to answer and ask and answer some very difficult questions about their policies and what they want to be and represent to their community and the people who have business with their businesses. So there's change. It's coming. But it's time to, take comfort from the fact that the powers that were in place are going to be weakened and weakened to the point where they are not going to have any teeth to bite with. And that not only includes the gun lobbyists, I'm also speaking of the Mitch McConnells, the Lindsey Grahams, the people who defend these outrageous and insane the situation with guns. They're losing their power, they're losing their momentum. They are absolutely on the wrong side of history in this. So yeah, there's absolutely increased security on couples, on certain specific couples, their families, their homes, because more and more people are feeling as if the need to put justice in place is growing stronger and stronger. I sincerely hope that no harm comes to Donald Trump or Mitch McConnell, because the last thing the world or anybody else needs is for either one of those two people to become a martyr, because the conspiracy theories that will spin off of that are going to be insane, and they're going to last for generations and generations, and that in and of itself is going to incite more violence. So what will work is increased pressure to get people to come to the tables or bow to their constituents' will. But there is definitely the need for strong security and for increased protection and vigilance. I want to say that the threats have exponentially increased, certainly over, it's almost like I'm getting like a 2-month time frame. And I honestly can't even tell you what happened 2 months ago, so I'm not quite sure what would have triggered a spike. And then over the last 10 days or so, there has been another significant spike. Nancy Pelosi is also being protected. But it's interesting, right? Because she comes to us on a throne. So literally her back is protected, her head is protected, her vital organs, if you will, are protected. And she is wielding the sword of truth. So there is increased protection around her. A lot of it as a result of the kind of rhetoric. They continue to keep a very close eye on her, as they do, as I said, members of the squad, people who are sort of vocally taking a stand against Trump, have needed to have their security increase. Members of the media, it's becoming more and more common and will become more common, that they also are going to need and require security details. And I just want to take a moment to say something. Mentally ill people do not kill people. They are far more likely to inflict harm on themselves. They are not the people who are paying attention, focus on the United States' political environment. They are not the ones cruising websites and the dark web looking for people who believe what they believe. That's not what people who suffer from any sort of mental illness, whether it's permanent, whether it's temporary, whether it comes and goes, those aren't the ones you have to worry about. You have to worry about, the white supremacists, the nationals, those people who somehow think that by virtue of their skin color and Trump being president, they have been given carte blanche to do whatever they want and be as reckless and as unhinged as they are. So there again needs to be some pushback every time they try to blame the mentally ill. That needs to get pushed back really hard. And again, the question has to be asked, well, if you're so concerned, why was one of the first things you did repeal whatever that was, the law, I don't know the technical term for what it was, but that protection that was put in place for people who were at risk in some way. Why did that get rolled back if you're so concerned? It's time for some really blunt questions, again, to your representatives, to your senators, to the president, the White House. And this is part of the energy that I'm seeing and that I keep reading about. It's a pushback. It's a constant push. It's like it's like a slow moving glacier, okay? It moves slowly. It's not radical. It's not violent. But sure as the sun is going to rise tomorrow, that force, the glacier, continues to just press forward and forward and forward. And that is the pressure that is going to create incremental small changes, and then they will be built on going forward. So there needs to be continual pushback. When he says things that are just stupid, they need to be pushed back. The other thing I would like to say is, for the people who are real advocates of gun safety, regulations, that kind of thing, I think that there needs to be a little bit more push that the media steps up and gives all of these mass shootings the attention and respect that they deserve. It seems like unless people literally are dropping dead in front of people's faces, the media is not treating the other ones so seriously. And that needs to stop, because that's going to be part of what increases the pressure to make changes. When there were two of them so close together, I mean hours apart, that ramped up the momentum. Can you imagine the response? What would happen if, I mean, there's been 250 of them in your country so far, and it's the 100 and something, 17th, 20th day of the year. Can you imagine the amount of pressure that would be brought to bear if every day, every 2 days, the news people were leading off with another mass shooting? It would be a wave. So the media, I think, needs to step up a little bit. People getting slaughtered should not be a matter of ratings. It should not be determined whether it's newsworthy or not in terms of the ratings. And for sure, it should never come second or third, or not at all, to the ranting ravings of your lunatic in the White House. So that got really off topic about security, but definitely it is in place. Definitely it's increasing. It's continuing to grow. If there continues to be complete resistance to Mitch McConnell, if he continues to resist doing anything at all, making any small move towards trying to look like he gives a damn, the threats against him and his wife are going to continue to increase. And, you know, I mean, what can you say about Trump? He is just his own worst enemy, right? I mean, he is completely incapable of acting with any self-awareness, any comprehension of the impact of his actions and his words. So he continues to put himself at blame. I mean, I'm not blaming a victim, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to keep doing something that you know incites violence, you shouldn't be surprised when there is an increase of violence towards you. So, there's definitely increased security. There is definitely a need to keep the pressure on. And there is definitely a need to stay vigilant, be aware. It breaks my heart, but I don't think you have seen the end of, sort of that kind of significant, the kind of stuff that was witnessed over the last weekend and the weeks prior to that. So come on down, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the deck, and I'm going to ask what we should remember, what we should keep in mind, what advice the universe would like to pass on with regards to how we keep our sanity in these really difficult times. Awesome. Remember, they're in retreat. It's not going well for them, and it's going to continue to not go well for them. They are going to continue to meet significant resistance. So it's your job to continue to create the resistance. They are so busy. Oh my God, they are so busy looking at what they're afraid of losing, that they're not understanding they could gain by simply turning their attitudes around a little bit. Changing their stance would go a long way. They should be less concerned about losing the NRA's money and more concerned about losing the voters' vote, but they're not. They're incapable of getting off the soapbox they're on. But change is coming, and change is coming fast. Not as fast as I know every single person out there would like it to come, but it is coming fast. And there are going to be changes made. Hang on to that. Continue to push for that. Continue to build that 2020 blue wave. Continue to push forward. And you will get these people out of office. They'll go away. They'll go away. You will come out of the dark into a place of prosperity, happiness, contentment. Your country, like every other country in the world, is not going to be perfect. It's still going to have things that need to be fixed, but the hysteria will have been tamped down. The fear that creates the hysteria, the upset, is going to be lessened, so people can simply become a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more relaxed as they simply go about their day-to-day lives. So, thank you very much for joining me, for supporting me. It's just wonderful. So thank you. Keep those thumbs up coming, comments. It's all great. I hope that this reading was helpful and insightful and answered some questions, and more importantly, gave a little bit of guidance or insight. So, for right now, take care, be well. We'll see you real soon. Bye.